Okay, hi everyone. Today's topic is about chemical equation. Okay, let me show you how to write the balanced chemical equation. But before you can write the chemical equation, you must know how to write the chemical formula. So for those who don't know how to write the chemical formula, please catch my video about how to write the chemical formula. Okay, don't forget, watch my video and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to how to write the chemical equation. Okay, there are a few steps that you need to follow. Okay, the first step is you need to write the equation in words. Okay, today we are going to write two examples of chemical equation. Okay, the first one is between hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, if you look at this equation, you can see that there is a plus sign. Okay, the plus sign means the reactant, the first reactant react with the second reactant. Okay, and then we have the arrow sign. The arrow sign showing the product. Okay, so if we read this equation in words, the equation says hydrogen react with oxygen to produce water. Okay, so that is the first step. You need to write the equation in words. Now, let's go to step 2. Okay, in step 2, we need to write the chemical formula for each reactant and product. So, let's look at hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen. Hydrogen is a molecule. So, the formula will be H2. And then the oxygen is also a molecule. So, we will write it as O2. And then because we know that the hydrogen, when we reacted with oxygen, will produce some water. So the formula of water is H2O. Right. So now what we need to do is, step 3, we need to calculate how many atoms of each reactant and product. Okay, so now you look at the formula of hydrogen, which is H2. So there are 2 hydrogen atoms. Okay. For oxygen, there are 2 oxygen atoms. That is the reactant. Okay. And then for the product of H2O, there are 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. So when you look at the reactant and also the product, the equation is not balanced. Okay, because the reactant has 2 hydrogen atom and 2 oxygen atom, but the product has 2 hydrogen atom but 1 oxygen atom. So what we need to do? All right, so what we need to do is we have to balance the equation by adjusting the coefficient in front of chemical formula. What is coefficient? Coefficient is the number that we put in front of the chemical formula so that the number of atom of the reactant and product would be the same. Okay, so for example, we have the hydrogen. Suddenly there is number 2 in front of hydrogen and also number 2 in front of H2O. Okay, let me show you how. Okay, so the first step is when you look at the equation, the first equation, which is H2 plus O2 become H2O, we know that it is not balanced. So what you need to do is, the first step is you put number 2 in front of water. Okay, 2H2O. When you put 2 in front of H2O, you will get 4 hydrogen atoms and 2 oxygen atoms. Now, if you look at oxygen at the reactant, you can see that the number of oxygen now is equal to oxygen atom in water. Okay. So now we have 4 hydrogen atoms in front of the water. So we need to balance it with the hydrogen. So we put number 2 in front of hydrogen. So now we have 4 hydrogen atoms for the reactant and 4 hydrogen atoms for the product in water. Now, if you calculate or if you look at the number of atoms, it is equal for the reactant and also for the product. Okay, so this is the balanced chemical equation that we just write or that we just discussed. Okay, so now you have 2H2 plus O2 produce 2H2O. Okay, now let's move on to the second example. Okay. The second example is aluminium reacted with oxygen to produce aluminium oxide. Okay, aluminium is a metal atom. So we just write it as Al. And then oxygen is a molecule. So the formula is O2. When they reacted, it will produce aluminium oxide with the formula of Al2O3. Okay, if you don't know how to write the aluminium oxide, please watch my previous video on how to write the chemical formula. Okay, so now let's calculate. Okay, if you look at this equation, we can see that aluminium has 1 atom. Oxygen has 2 atoms for the reactant. And for the product, we have 2 atom aluminium and 3 atom oxygen. So the number is not balanced or is not equal. Okay, now what we have to do is you can put 3 in front of oxygen. Okay, so when we put 3 in front of oxygen, okay, so the oxygen will become 6 atom. Okay, so now 6 atom of oxygen for the reactant. So if we want to balance it, you put 2 in front of aluminium oxide so that the oxygen atom will be 6 atom. So you can see that atom now, the reactant and also the product is the same number. Okay, now we look at aluminium. Okay, aluminium has 4 atoms. Okay, so how to give the aluminium here, aluminium metal is also 4 atoms. So we put number 4 in front of the aluminium. So now we have the balanced number of atoms for reactant and also the product. Okay, so this is the balanced chemical equation for the reaction between aluminium, oxygen, aluminium and oxygen to produce aluminium oxide. The color of aluminium oxide is white powder. Okay, so I think that's all for now. Until we meet again. So please watch my video, share and subscribe. Okay, thank you. Bye.